When you have no decent record to run on, in fact, let's modulate the language here. When the record you have to run on is one of pandemic death and terrible policy that led to horrible outcomes, rises in rates of crime and inflation and general misery, when those are the facts on the ground, what you have to do when campaigning is adjust the reality, is try to convince your voter base and a potential new voter base that things weren't as they seemed in the moment. And that's exactly what has been taking place since the end of Donald Trump's auspicious time as president of the United States. And it's continued up until yesterday. It's continuing. It's going to continue today and tomorrow and the next day, but it's continued up until at least yesterday. The GOP broke out this chart in a House committee talking about immigration, demonizing on immigration. And this is the chart, which we're going to get to. But I want to show you a brilliant tactic made by Representative Robert Garcia, I believe from California, who took the Republicans' chart in committee and said, well, yeah, this is all good and fine, but your numbers are all wrong. And he really ashamed, or if shame was possible, if they had dignity or the ability to feel humiliated or embarrassment, they would be ashamed of what they've done, pointed out to the goober from Louisiana that, yeah, this is all good and fine, but your numbers are wrong, in a masterful stroke. Watch this.
Appreciate your time. Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering if I'm able to see your chart for a minute. Do you mind if I borrow your chart for a quick second, Mr. Chairman? Do you mind if I borrow your chart for just a quick second?
Oh, I apologize. I had not heard you, my colleague, but of course, yes, sir.
Thank you. If I can just...
I only used the chart because Mr. Goldman said he didn't like it, so.
Thank you. Well, so I just want to clarify this chart. I know that this chart was also been discussed by a few of my colleagues and Ms. Green and the chairman and others, but I just think this chart is important for us to actually look at this and actually be accurate. Right now, it says that Trump left office at this point in the chart. That's actually not when Donald Trump left office. Donald Trump actually left office right here on this chart. That's right. And so, you know, when we're talking about charts, we should be very accurate when actual Donald Trump actually left office. And you can see that the actual immigration and what happened with border crossings was already going up by the time Donald Trump left office. And so I think it's important that when we have charts, and I appreciate being allowed to use this one, that we're accurate about actually when this actually happened. So facts are really important.
Facts are important to some people, Congressman Garcia, not to all. Let's establish the facts as they are. Let's deal with reality on reality's terms, which indeed is not something Republicans like to do. For instance, this chart, the very chart you just saw, a little hard to see because he's got a wonky arrow that's not sticking correctly. I want to show you here, put it on screen. You can't, it's hard to tell, but I believe the arrow that they have pointing to when Donald Trump left office is March of 2020. At first glance, I thought, oh, well, this must be the election, November of 2020, which leaves December and then January 20th to be the last day in office. So just a couple of months different. Not that big a deal. No. March of 2020, which means you got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and then November until the election, and then December and January into the next year. We're talking about nearly a year difference that they want. They just picked the lowest part in 2020 of immigration numbers and then ran with that. When it's actually here, as Representative Garcia pointed out. You see, facts are troubling things when they don't align with the reality you're trying to sell to a gullible group of rubes who will believe anything you say. The job's not real hard when you can just lie and say insane things that are just blah, 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 gobbled up by the MAGA mob. But these are the tactics that have to be used by Republicans when the facts and the data and the reality don't line up with your particular narrative. It's gross, but it's also dangerous because we live, many people say, in like a post-truth society. I don't believe that to be true. I think that the vast majority of Americans value truth. They want to get to the truth. They want to know what is true. And we battle, those of us who do those things are battling against Republicans who want to alter history. So much so that they're pulling history books from classes. They're not teaching the actual version of American history that took place. They want to paint white people as some kind of a savior figure on the global stage. It's dangerous. A post-truth world is a dangerous place because if you don't deal with reality on reality's terms, that's not a phrase I came up with. I don't know who came up with it. I got it from Brittany Page, but it is it's a different world. It's a dangerous place because anything can be true. If nothing is true, anything can be true. You're not reliant upon facts and data and research and science. It's however you feel that day, I guess, because this is clearly propaganda being put out there on the floor of a committee room by the chairman, Clay Higgins from Louisiana. I didn't know my good friend was talking to me, even though they're speaking into microphones. That's the ghost buses, by the way. The guy who claimed there were ghost buses during the insurrection, and he was going to get to the bottom of it. I don't know whatever happened to the ghost buses, Clay. Huh, buddy? Liars. Again, unmoored from truth or reason or rationality. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. You could also just simply leave a comment below and say, rad chart, bro. That'd be a great comment. That'd be a great, helps engagement, helps convince YouTube this video needs to be seen by others, and then they deliver it. Fantastic. If you want to help beyond commenting, you can click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month. That would be great. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. All these are fantastic methods to help support this work. Follow me on social media if you're already there. I am at Dollemore. I'd love to see you. And I will see you next time. You too, Clay Higgins. Ghost buses. Be genuine. Take care of one another.